We have a lot of martyrs. We got a lot of things that happened in the South. Stood up and believed that there wouldn't have been a movement without a beating. We had people that had a goal, saw the goal, and knew that they was going to get beat. They knew that the dogs was going to be sicked on them. They knew that they might not have a certain type of job, that this goal was worth it. Ooh. What pain are you going to go through so you can be a better person? Right. Don't run away from the pain.
Okay.
Because if you do, there's going to be some other pain. And that other pain is going to be regret.
They be like what it be like. Like, you already know what it is. It's your boy Calvin Lightmy Way, and this is Cut the Noise, Growing Through Conversation. Today we got a very special guest, a friend, a brother of mine. We actually go to the same church, and this man is the leader of the man's group. Okay, so this brother has a Bible foundation, amazing prayer warrior, and a great friend. Mallory Thompson, what's going on, brother?
Not a thing that I like. You called me special. You know, man, I had to look around
man.
and like, who this is?
Yeah. But you know, most time, man, people don't give people their flowers while they're here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I must say that through my time coming to church at Strong Tower Christian Fellowship,
yes, sir.
I had a conversation with Pastor a while back, right? He was saying, "Yo, how can we get more brothers to come out?
Right.
You know, how can we get you more involved?" And I told him, you know, I'm kind of straight up with myself, you know. I said, bruh, I don't really know.
Right.
I said, honestly, I don't know you. Like, I don't know the other brothers. You know what I mean? And if we can fellowship, we can get to know each other, we can do stuff outside of church, we're more apt to actually get to know each other.
Right.
Because a lot of times we connect in certain environments or certain places, and the level of relationship is predicated or just set in that one area. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
And I gotta say, man, since, you know, stepping outside the four walls,
right,
having dinner a few times, and jumping on that bike.
Yeah.
I must say, I enjoy your company, brother.
Well, thank you, man. I you know, you touched on the word relationship, and that's what the whole thing is about, is developing a relationship.
Right.
You got to develop one with God. You got to develop one with your family. The better, the tighter that relationship is, the more things that you would do, right?
Right, absolutely.
I don't care what you're doing. You see some sports players, and you're like, man, them two, they don't get along.
Right.
Well, a lot of times it shows on the field, it shows on the court. So it's the same thing. Same thing with everything that you do in life. How's that relationship between you and your boss? How's that relationship between you and your spouse, you and your children? That relationship counts, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, brother, today, well, before we get into today, can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
I'm just a regular fellow. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I'm a guy. I came down here from Fort Bragg. Went to Fort Bragg, deal with Fort Bragg and all that, and I love North Carolina.
Okay.
I liked Raleigh. I liked the RTP and Durham. It was smaller then. The road seemed like it was nice. I know it's kind of crazy.
You said smaller then. That must have been a little while back. How long you been around, bro?
Let me see. I got introduced to Raleigh in 1997 is when I started being stationed at Fort Bragg.
Gotcha.
And so back then, when you had the RTP, it was smaller then. It was before inflation started hitting us so much. But, you know, it seemed like the people from New York, it was a secret. And now it's like everybody know about the secret.
Right. So the secret's out.
Yeah, the secret's out. We all here.
Yeah. Everybody enjoying it. We got all 4 seasons in 1 week.
It is what it is. Before then, all I knew was the wood.
Yeah.
You ever seen the wood?
Yeah.
And the dude said, I'm from North Carolina. I was like, man.
I said, oh, my dog. Oh, we out here.
Yeah.
that was our claim to fame for a good while.
Good while.
But, so today, I know we discussed several different topics that we could talk about, but I kind of honed in on the one where you were talking about the pain and growth.
Right.
Pain and growth. And whenever you said it, the first thing came to my mind, because I've been doing a few different videos online. I did a story about Callie, she started a garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Callie started this garden, she planted the seeds, she put it in pots, and in the pot, they grew, and then they had to be moved.
Yes.
And whenever you started talking about the pain of growth, I thought about that seed. I thought about how the seed itself first must break itself.
Right.
Because anytime we see a seed, we like sunflower seed.
Yeah.
We think this got a little shell around it, and we just gonna put it in the ground, and it's gonna pop up a sunflower. But that ain't how it works.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta, first off, that shell got to come off.
Mm-hmm.
Then the actual seed is inside it. That seed got to hit the ground. It got to be buried, right? And then the seed actually must break while it's underground, so that the sprout can start to come out. And for a season, maybe not a whole season, but for a time period, that seed is still underground,
right?
And it's growing, and nobody can see it. And a lot of time in life, we feel like that. Ain't nobody seeing. I don't see no growth,
right?
But we're developing, we're growing, and then before the world can see it, we gotta break through the ground. So that's two separate breakings, man.
Yes,
there's two separate breakings. But
I like that analogy though. I love it.
It's kind of crazy, because in life, we find that growth is more than just we got an idea and it happened.
Right.
It's a process.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's just like the seed that you were saying. See, there's something inside of that seed that they wanted. There's something that's saying, you know what, I'm willing to break out of this shell, right? And so when that thing becomes so strong that you say, no, I can't stand it anymore.
Right.
I can't stand being in this place. You break out, right? But there's so many obstacles that's in the way. So the shell is the first obstacle. And you would think that once you break out of that shell, that it's over. But it's not. You still in darkness.
Yeah.
You still surrounded by this soil. And if it's good soil, it might smell a little bit, right? So you still have to deal with so many things that have you in darkness that you still would have to grow. But if it's something that you want, you'll still be willing to go through that process.
Right.
Now, the problem is that we look at it, understand the process, and sometimes we so weak that we say, I just rather stay here.
Oof.
I'd rather not grow.
I'd rather not.
Exactly. So you have kids that's going through school that can be number one in their class, right?
Right.
All they have to do is put some effort in.
Oh.
But they just, I'd rather just chill out and do this. I'd rather just go home and look at my little game, that they become idle, right? And that's when something is not growing, it's dying.
Oh, man.
Same thing with your muscles. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Absolutely.
So, but if you want it to grow, you have to put some type of pressure on it.
Right.
You got to pick something up. You actually got to tear it so it can repair itself. Right. And so that's what needs to happen with us. The question is, are you willing to do it so you can get somewhere else? So you can be on another plateau.
Right. Man.
And that's the things I think we as a society, this new generation, not that they're not willing to do it,
right,
but I don't think that we've taught them to do it or they're motivated to do it. Right.
Let's see, now you hit something right. You hit a lot, brother. But one thing you said is this new generation, it don't seem they've been taught it.
Yes.
There's a saying that I've heard. It says hard times make strong men.
That's right.
But good times make weak men.
Yes.
And seeing that we've been in this period of such a great time, good time, since, let's just say, the civil rights movement. Okay. Because we're talking about our people right now for a second.
Yes, yes.
Since the civil rights movement in the 80s, well, we got some rights. We got some movement. A lot of times people get complacent in good times. And a lot of times we say, oh, well, I didn't have this when I was little. I didn't have this when I was coming up. So I'm going to make sure my kids have. But a lot of times we give to the kids without giving them the sense of working through that process to gain that thing.
Yes. So you're right. Man don't work, man don't eat, right? So that's true, but they also need to see where they can be. See, a lot of times we just settle. Now, they had a saying that if you reach for the stars, you might land on the moon. We're not teaching them to reach for the stars. Right. We're not teaching them to go above and beyond. You need to be better than what you are every day. There's something your father, he has this baton, and he's moving and he's running hard. But there's a time in his life where he's going to degrade, and now you need to grab that baton. It's like a big relay race, and move with your whole family. See, as men, right? I like to talk about men because that's what I am. As men, we have responsibility for our whole family.
Right.
You got responsibility for our wives.
Yes, sir.
We have responsibility for our kids. All those things. So we have to move and we have to grow. However, we all team. So you need to come together and have a family goal. You got to come together and have a team goal. Understand who you are around.
Right.
And if they're not moving towards your goal, you might need to let them go.
So if they can't grow with you, they can't go with you.
Ew, that's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it. I'm going to add that.
You got to write that down.
I got to write that down.
You got to keep that. Okay. So I like, and my brother, you from New Orleans, right? See, when he said baton, I know some of y'all didn't know what he meant. He meant baton. Baton. That's how we say it, okay? But I got that analogy so much because I remember, and this comes up in the podcast quite a bit, a few years back, it's been 8 years since my father passed. I spoke at his funeral, and I spoke on that. And what we were talking about, I was saying how, because he dealt with cancer for a long time, prostate, heart disease issues, so forth. Anything that runs in our family or our people, he had all of it.
Yes,
he
I
had
understand.
All of it. So it was something that was dealing with for a long time, right? So through this, I saw where he started to degrade in a sense where his mental capacity wasn't there.
Right.
So it got to a point where we couldn't have intellectual conversation. We couldn't have banter. We couldn't talk about the word of God. We couldn't talk about developing and growing. And at that point was when I lost my father.
Right.
I didn't lose him the day that his heart stopped.
Gotcha.
I lost him way back when. So I had prepared. I was ready for him to be set free from this world and go to the next. So I spoke it all joy at his funeral. Right. I spoke it because, like John said, I must decrease so that you may increase.
Come on, Baptist.
So whenever he passed that baton to me, it was, this is what you prepared me for. Because he always said, if a man can't teach his children to live when he gone, he didn't teach them nothing.
Right.
And I love the baton analogy, brother, because it resonated.
Right.
But
so you trying to say that you was prepared?
Yes.
So every step that you take is not necessarily for you all the time. You have to come back and say, you know what? That's Calvin. I know his daddy. So there's a certain type of way that you're gonna move. There's a certain type of way that you're gonna live because your daddy is in you.
There you go.
And see that. So when my dad passed, I had to give that same type of thing, and I told him he was my hero.
Yes.
And as much as my father was my hero, he always pointed me to Jesus.
Go ahead now.
So that's the type of thing that we need to do throughout our lives. So he gave me a template, right, to follow, to say, look, this is what you need to do for the people. This is what you need to do for your kids, so that I'm already worrying about my grandkids. I want to see them. I want to touch them. I want to hold them. I already have goals for them, right? So it's just what we are, because we're God-like. That's what I try to become. Every day I want to be more and more like him. Yes. Right? So when I understand that he has some thoughts for me. Right? So I also have some thoughts for my children. Right. So that it resonates with me too. And as long as you have some people that pour something into your past, then you'll have a future.
Woo! Now, let you say that. I just love it because I truly believe that this right here is speaking to somebody. Right. To somebody that is in a position that may be dealing with the loss of a father, or maybe dealing with that shift in life, you know? Right. Where they need this understanding. And it's not spoken about so much in our community for the simple fact that, oh, no, I don't want to talk about them. Right. I don't want to talk about them. Let's not talk about that. But the truth is, it's a part of life. Yes. Just as sure as we were born, It shows we gonna go away from him.
That's right.
And whenever we were babies in the womb of our mother, when we were born into this world, we died to her womb.
Yes.
We died to that world because that's all we knew. That little tube that was hooked to our belly and the sounds that we heard from the outside, that was all we knew. But we had to die in that world to come to the next one.
That's right.
So to die in this world and go to the next one is nothing but joy.
Nothing.
Nothing but joy.
Nothing.
Especially if you know exactly who you are and whose you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
But oh man, this is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But what, in your personal opinion,
Mm-hmm.
do you think is the best catalyst or the best way to lead, let's say, a child, or even, it could be business or family or whatnot, but lead a child in the way that they would go?
So people see. Mm-hmm. They see you when you don't even think that they're watching, right? So to me, the best thing that you can do is always be a better you. It's to have a character that regardless of where you are, they know that you're going to be you.
Right.
And so when you do those things and you stand for things that's righteous, when you always stand for the same thing, that's regardless of how many people, what the numbers are, what's the pressure, what weapon that somebody has in front of you, right? Regardless, but if you know you're going to stand on what you believe in, people are going to change.
Yeah,
people going to see it. In fact, we have a lot of martyrs. We got a lot of things that happened in the South. And you know what? We stood up and believed that there wouldn't have been a movement without a beating.
Yeah, you're right.
So we had people that had a goal, saw the goal, and knew that they was going to get beat. So why do we have challenges that's coming to us now, like an education system? And you think that, I don't feel like doing that for 4 years, 5 years. I don't want to get my master's degree, my doctorate in 10 years, right? When these people knew that they was going to have cops that was going to beat them. They knew that they had a Ku Klux Klan that was coming to burn up and bomb their churches, right? They knew that the dogs was going to be sicked on them. They knew that they might not have a certain type of job, but they still say that this goal was worth it. So sometimes we have to say, what kind of life are you living? Do you have a worthy goal? And I think if you bring that to them, if you talk to them and say, what are you doing today? So when I take a snapshot of my life on this day, 365 days from now, I don't want me to be in the same situation. I don't want that picture to look the same. I want to be able to look back and say, man, there's a difference.
Right.
And I don't care which way it's going to be at, whether it's going to be your health, right? What kind of journey, whether it's going to be your finances, spiritually, what are you trying to do at this time so you can be better? What pain are you going to go through so you can be a better person?
Right.
Don't run away from the pain.
Okay.
Because if you do, there's going to be some other pain. And that other pain is going to be regret. I sure wish I would have did this. I sure wish I would have ran when I was supposed to run, read this book. If I would have did the right thing, I could have been with this person over here if I would have just treated him well, right? So all I would say is, you be the best that you can be, but then come back and call a spade a spade. Tell the people that you love, you was wrong at this time, right? But I still love you.
Right.
Tell them when all of a sudden that, hey, they missed this jump shot, that, you know what, regardless, you're still coming home to me.
Right.
Because that's what Jesus did for us. How many times that we sinned, how many times we turned our back, how many times that we walked away and he said, I'm still here.
David said, come on back. Come on back, I got you.
That's it. That's it. And that's all that the people want to hear. Sometimes that's the problem in life, that the people feel like if they don't succeed, that you won't accept them.
And because of that fear of not succeeding, they don't even try.
They don't even try. And especially if they don't feel no pain. Look, that's what love is. I love you enough to go out and feel some pain for you. To endure something for you.
Right.
If it's convenient, then how much love is that? You just there.
Yeah.
It's just right here if it's convenient. But when I'm willing to go to a certain place, when I'm willing to feel a certain type of stress for you, that person love you, right?
Yeah.
Look, there's a book in the Bible, a book of Job.
Mm-hmm.
This dude was rich.
Mm-hmm.
He had so many things. And then God said, have you considered my servant Job? Why would he do such a thing? But at the end, he understood. If Job didn't love him like that, because he went through the pain of all those things,
Right.
all the people being taken, talking about him and taken away from him,
Right.
he loved them then. He showed you. It intensifies you. It makes you into another being. You are a part of your experiences. Did you experience that? How did you experience? And when you experience something, you know the next time when the situation comes again, you don't have to do the same thing. You can handle it a better way.
Right. So what you're saying is, whenever we go through something, there's always a lesson.
There's always a lesson.
And if we don't learn that lesson, the pain that we would receive from not learning the lesson would be worse than the pain that we would receive from actually moving forward.
Yes. Don't give up. Don't give up on whatever that you're going through, even though that you might have failed today, right? I have a doctor. So when I go to my doctor, you know what? I don't know what my doctor grade point average was.
Right?
I don't know. And now that one time that he showed me his transcript, but he's still a doctor.
Yes, he is.
So just because you failed today, don't be afraid to fail at all. But still try. Give it all that you have. I know you got something into you.
Right.
Do you? When the last time you looked in the mirror?
Right.
When the last time you said, you know what, I like what I'm looking at. Do things right now so when you glance in the mirror, you say, ooh, I like that.
So in other words, we can sculpt or create who that reflection is.
Exactly. That's you have that power.
Right.
That is you. Regardless of what you're going through, you still you. See, you was talking about an environment before when we was talking about this seed.
Right.
You said that the pot was too small for that seed.
Right.
So now the seed said, man, get me out this pot. So regardless of if you in this pot right here or if you in a great big backyard, you still need to grow. And if need to be, break the pot. Woo!
I love that, brother.
Yes.
Break the pot.
Break it.
Break the pot. Break out of that environment. Break out of that bondage. Break out of that situation. Move. Grow. I like that.
Yes. Don't let that excuse hold you back. Break it. Move on. Say, you know what? I'm here. I'm here. This t-shirt say, I am enough. I'm here. I'm sweating on this thing.
I can get you a rag.
Nah, you good. You good.
Okay.
But sweat.
But the thing is, what about the individual that hears you say, go through the pain or go through this or that, and they don't have a father or an example? What advice would you give that person?
You might not have a father. I understand that. I did have one, and I thank the Lord that I did have one. But do you know right from wrong? Can you become a better father for the other people that's seeing you? And plus, we have the Bible.
Okay.
We have a God. We have a father that comes up and told us and showed us right from wrong, right? So now you may find yourself behind, shucks, I'm almost 50 years old. That don't mean I'm going to stop growing.
Right.
You know? So just because you didn't do it at 2, you didn't do it at 5, you didn't do it in this place, someone didn't show you that path, right? But we still have a God that will light your way. So if he's going to light your way, he brings other people that's inside of your life to show you. Move with those people.
Right.
But find also something within yourself and say, man, you know what? I like that. I don't care how simple it is.
Right.
Wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to do that task.
Right.
I'm making my bed every morning.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to accomplish that task. I'm going to go on and ride my bike 10 miles every day. I'm going to accomplish that task. Matter of fact, you should wake up and say, whatever I'm going through, beat it. In fact, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next today?
Yeah.
And then you find other things inside of your life and go for it.
Right.
Do it. But make sure that you're not crawling over other people while you're doing it. Make sure that you're not so selfish. Make sure that you understand how to love you so that you can love other people. Because that's what parents do.
Right.
Parents love us. A good one anyway.
Right.
And they love us unconditionally, but they also teach us, right? To get that beating is in love. Mm-hmm. So you understand right now, I told my daddy, thank you for every beating that he gave me.
Oh, yeah.
For every time that he pulled out his belt and said, bro, you deserve this today. Because that's what changed. That pain changed me, right? So now when I'm going through and I have to run a mile or 800 or something like that, every step there's going to be some pain, but there's a finish line. There's a place that I'm trying to go.
Right.
That's what I would say. Be motivated by that. But not just be motivated, be committed to it.
Right, right.
Be committed to yourself.
I like what you said. I like my way. Appreciate that. But no, man, there was a brother at work, right? He's an older gentleman. I think he just turned 58. And he walked up to me. We were in passing. He said, Cal, how old are you, man? About 40. That's like 36. I'm about there.
Yeah.
And he said, man, I remember when I was 36.
Right.
Man, I remember when I was 36. You know, he kind of went down a tangent.
Yes.
And you know, we laughed. And then I told him, I said, but think about it. That's the benefit of being around people of different ages.
Yes.
Because this brother looked at me and told me he wished he could be where I was.
Right.
Right. And I told him, I said, think about it. When you around somebody 70 looking at you and saying, man, I remember when I was 50. I remember that time.
Yes.
I remember when I could. And it's almost I think that's a beautiful thing about parents in general, is that's one of the things that they can gleam onto a child or gleam onto their children as they become adults.
Yes.
Is, I remember when I could. Don't you waste it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because a lot of times we give ourselves, it's an excuse. Man, I'm about 40, man. I can't do that. Or I can't start this new venture. Or I can't go down this path. Or I can't learn the piano. Well, if you 40 and you play the piano for 10 years, I think you're going to be pretty good in 10 years.
Exactly.
Time going to pass anyway. Why not push? Why not put in the work to accomplish something?
Right.
To reach the highest version of yourself. It's not even about the crowd. It's not about the people. It's about you and what you can do, and almost in a thanks to God.
Yes.
Because you gave it to me.
That's right.
Let me show you my appreciation by giving my all, so that the world can see he did this.
Right.
He gave me the opportunity.
Yes.
This is him. Like, that to me is the biggest thank you that a parent can receive, is when their children accomplish something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because you didn't do it. You raised them. You led them down a path. But them sticking through, doing the work, and achieving, it's celebration of them. And for a parent, that pride, not in a negative way, not a negative pride, but that pride, that love, that earthquaking feeling of, my baby did it.
That's my baby.
My baby did it. I don't care how old baby be 40. Baby could be 50. My baby did it. Whatever that is. So I said it in a podcast a couple ago or whatever. Work is the word for the year. It might be the word for the rest of my life.
That's right.
Work. Because regardless to your hopes, goals, dreams, desires, your prayers, your affirmations, manifestation, if you ain't doing the work, brother, zero times anything is still zero.
You ain't putting nothing in it. You ain't gonna get nothing out. Faith without work is dead. If you ain't sow, how in the world you think you're gonna get something in reaping season? I'm with you. I understand you.
Right.
So that's where we living at now. The issue that I'm having is people understand that there's work to do, but we have it so good today. We have it so good. We got jobs that we working inside now a lot of times.
Right.
We got a whole bunch of, we just have it so easy that I'm satisfied with what I have right now.
Right.
But I'm saying, hey, I kind of want to do some things for people that ain't here.
Yeah.
Right? When I look at Walmart, I notice that his kids, see Sam kids?
Yeah, Sam Walton.
Yeah, they good.
They are great.
They good. His grandkids, they good.
Great.
So when I go back and I study, going back to Job, Job was giving tithes for his kids, just in case. Just in case if they did something wrong or they forgot. Here you go. Here's another offering for you because of my kids.
On behalf of my children.
Exactly.
Wow.
So that's, to me, that's the way, that's how selfless that we should be. We need to give back, right? But there's certain things that you want for you. People are coming out and say, you know what? I don't even want that dream because I'm afraid of failing. Right. Because people going to laugh at me. People going to come around here and say certain things and I don't want that feeling. And I'm like, for what? I enjoy work. Right. I enjoy the pain of saying, look what I did it in this time. Right. Look what I accomplished this time. Without the work, you don't accomplish nothing. What you do, breathe? Right? Look, I just started riding a bike, right? Right. Dude comes out, he shows me, click, look what I did today. Look how I rode my bike. The first thing I noticed that he had 198. I was like, what, 198? His VO2 max was 190. You got your heart to beat to 198? You know how much work you have to do that your heart can get to 198, right? So I'm like, man, did you see that you went to 198? I can't get to 198. You know? Today I can. Right. But let me keep on working. Right. Let me keep on going to the highest and I'm working on my max. Yeah. So next year, right, I want to be close to 190. Yeah. I want to be able to get there. Right. Because I want to look back and say, that's where I've been. Not that's where I want to go, that I miss it. Right. But I still want to look forward and say, I can do even more. Right. Because I have no idea on what I can do. Yeah. But let's find out. Right. Hold on a second. Right. I'm sorry. Being loud. A tad scoot. Good. You were leaning back. Your lean was strong. Oh, my lean was strong. I'm a strong leaner. I am.
Just a pro out there, man. Nah. You sure you don't need no water? I can get you a rag or something.
Yeah, give me a rag though. I don't need no water. Okay. You over there? I heard your stomach moving over there. Ain't nothing wrong. That's a process. That's a process. You just might be going through it. That's all. Thank you, sir. I should have, you know.
I said, is that light hot on you in there, man?
Nah, that's just what I do anyway. My wife brings one for me because she don't like it. Well, for me, I just sweat. Yeah. My daddy sweat. My son sweat.
That's it. Gotta cool down.
Runs in the face. Exactly.
Gotta cool down.
I probably was just in a real hot place. Right. My daddy from Mississippi. It must have been hot over there.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So, speaking of, let's go back to the seed, man. What is the importance of planting these seeds throughout our lives and the lives of others?
Well, when there's seed, something comes from it, right? So there's fruit that comes from a tree. Right. If you have a vine, there's watermelon. I like watermelon, right? So there's certain things that come from it that others can benefit from it, right, and also yourself. So once this seed have come from, then there's going to be this fruit, right? And even if it's not fruit, you know, that's where oxygen comes from. Ooh. We cannot breathe without our cells can't live without the oxygen, right? And use that oxygen to create more energy so that we can have life. If you sit and do nothing, go ahead on and Try it out and be crazy. Just sit on a couch for 2 years. You ain't gonna be able to move again. You ain't gonna be able to do you. What you call joy is work. See, sometimes we look at work as just negative connotation,
Right.
but that's where the joy comes from. That's what a place. If you go on a vacation and do nothing, what is that?
Right.
There's a saying that says sleep is the cousin of death. Why you want to get so close?
That's close.
Why you want to get so close? Don't die. Live.
Wow. I ain't heard that one before, but I like that. That's going in the book. Sleep is the cousin of death.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, you gotta get some sleep.
You got to get some.
Don't stay up all the time.
You got to rest now.
Don't be insomniac. I've dealt with that myself.
Right.
But man, don't waste time.
Don't waste time. It's
Don't
a
waste
gift.
time. That's why it's called a present.
That's right. So if I come out and somebody gave you something, right? They gave you $10.
Okay, $10.
And you able to come back and return and give them 100
Right,
for the 10 that you gave.
Right.
Then that time they invested in you was good time. That money that they invested in you, so God gave us some time.
Right. That's the thing though with people in general. When we connect and we have conversations and we have ideas, we have to get to a point where we're having higher level conversation. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when we're talking about at 17, 18 years old, we're talking about preparation for high school, getting out of high school, graduation, college, right? We're talking about possibly military. Or that's the level of conversation we're on.
Right.
Right? But once we get out of that, what are we talking about? Majority of the time, it's going to work, starting a family. What about ventures? What about investments?
Yes.
What about growth? What about the seeds that are being planted in other communities in the minds of the youth?
Yeah.
In the minds of the people.
Right.
To look forward in the future to make our resources multiply.
Yes.
Just like our seed. How can, this is just us talking, in your opinion, how can our people, our community, our churches even get to a point where we're having higher level conversations for growth outside of just baseline growth?
So, a man should think, the Bible says something about a man should think about himself as he ought to. You don't want to think so high, or you don't think or so low of yourself. So there's going to always be a situation, because where I started, I couldn't get to, right? So we was talking about that baton earlier, and to me, you should pull that into your family, your child, the people that's your surroundings, right? So when you have that conversation, they should move on it, right? I'm trying to. Ice Cube was in one of the movies. I think it was Boys in the Hood. Really can't remember. The Cuba Gooding Jr. was in it.
Right.
Larry Fishburne.
It was Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
He comes out talking about their neighborhood and what should they be doing, and people is making money off their neighborhood, right? Because
that was the scene where he was talking to his son.
Yes.
And then like the gangsters and stuff started coming up on him, and the boys were scared.
But he's still gonna talk his.
Yeah.
And so when you looking at that, because he sees something else, other people see something else. See, you looking at this house and you're throwing trash in front of it. You're not taking care of it. You're not cutting the grass. You're not doing the things like it's a great house anymore, because you've been there for 12 years or whatever like that. While somebody else over there looking at it and saying, man, this is nice.
Yeah.
I can make some money off of this.
Right.
I can take this right now and sell it for 3 times of what it's worth, right? The problem is you're not looking at what it's worth. And we don't just do it with property. Right. We do it with other people. We do it at jobs, and we do it in our situations. But if this is all you knew, because your mind is immature, right? So if I take mature parents, if I take intellectual parents, and they feed into their children, then when their children is 16, they might not be thinking the same thing.
Right. I got you.
So, and that's because they wasn't taught to.
Right.
So the school system is there to teach you how to think. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, I don't want to learn the way you thinking all the time. Yeah. And so now when we looking at the world, you see people fussing and saying, man, why are you teaching my child that this is right? Right? When Richard Williams was coming up and it was talking to Venus, he was like, don't put that in my child's head. Right? Don't, because if you put it in their head, it might go to their heart. And whatever's in their heart, that's what's going to feed what they're saying and what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Right? And so you are the one that's supposed to be around yours the most. Mm-hmm. So you want to feed them the most because you are what you eat. Right? You want to feed them the most. You want them to sit up there and move around in a way so they can be great citizens, right? So they can be great leaders, so they can go and start manipulating this world on how they want to live. Right. Because there's a different view. There's things that they're going to do. If you go to biblical times, they wish they could have been in a place when the AC was on and when it's cold, the heater was on and all that. But somebody had to think about that. And then somebody else, it might have not have been in the same person that make it happen. So when we realize that it's just not us living together, that it's a whole community, that is generation after generation after generation, that you could do something right now that be a ripple effect and just can create and grow, or you can do something that makes it kill. You have that power of where we all going to be. Right. Realizing that and saying, come on, work with me so I can get here.
Okay, so, and I'm a translator.
Mm-hmm. Go on, translate.
So in other words, what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, is we must first reform the way we think ourselves, and then feed those around us, right? So that they can move forward with the thought process, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so once we feed, or we've been fed from some source, some seed have been dropped in us, and we say, oh, I found out about this, and we share it, and we give it, and somebody else increase or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those that are around us that seem to have the same vibe or to connect with it, how do we come together?
How do we come together? Yeah. So a lot of times that's what leadership is about. That's what conversation is about, on how we gonna come together, what common ground that we have. We first have to be able to understand that we may get offended. Because a lot of times when somebody's saying and they're not saying the same thing that you're saying, we shut down.
Or the same way you say it.
Exactly. So one of the things that you was talking about was your environment, right? You said that when a person is born, they got to cut themselves away from that feeding source that they had with that umbilical cord. Right. So now they're in a different environment that you get to actually see daddy now. And then after that, you go into another environment. So them environments change, right? But we first need to follow. If we are able to follow, then we can take a group of people and lead. But a lot of times we're not following. Right. So if you follow and you stay close to the shepherd, if you follow and then you understand what all the goals is, then when it's your turn to lead, then you'll lead, right? So Joshua saw Moses, right? And so when he saw Moses and he followed him so much, the waters, they separated. Okay, that's the first thing. I'm gonna go down and separate this water right here. He believed. So even when giants was there or something that seemed like it was bigger than him, he said it don't matter. We didn't conquer things like this before because I believe. So when you get other people that's around, you got to get people that's around you that's gonna believe the same thing. Then if you put it in worldly view, you can develop a corporation. Then y'all can say, hey, look what we've done.
Right.
Look at the park we built. Look at the city that we have. Look at the schools. Look at all of these things. LeBron James is just LeBron James.
Right.
But when you bring in his posse, who comes up with their views, their goals, and their ideas,
Oh man.
then they all can focus on one group, right?
Yeah.
And like my church been saying all year, you're stronger together.
I got you, man. That the way you wrap the bow on that, perfect. Perfect, man. Just perfect, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, man. Because a lot of times with, I'm saying, aspiring leaders, people just want to be in front.
Right.
People just want to be in charge. People kind of like network marketing. You know, like people just, I'm trying to recruit.
Right.
I don't know what the heck's going on, but I want you on my team.
Yes.
Why I want to be on your team if you don't know what's going on? You know what I mean? Like the level of leadership does come from a readiness or ability to follow first.
Yes.
And the way you wrote that down, it made a lot of sense. It clicked in my mind. I hope somebody else got something from it. But also, if we create a team, a corporation, a group, church, community, family.
Yes.
And we've planted these seeds. We harvested. We got fruit from it, right?
Right.
This is kind of on a tangent, but how can we ensure that we keep God first in all that we do?
Well, look, you got to keep going to him then. You got to keep going back and making sure that you're communicating with him. You got to keep going on and saying, God, how you want me to love you today? See, to me, that's what about seeking him. When you first was dating your wife, you treated her a certain way.
Right.
Then you get married. She's not the same person that you first was dating, and she don't even want the same things.
Right.
But if you don't pay attention to her, you won't realize that now she's asking you for something else. So that's the same thing with God. You have to pay attention to God. Learn first how to love him, right? Then learn what he wants from your love. And the reason being is because he might want a different thing from you than he wants from me.
Right.
Now, together we might come back and we might come as a church and give him the same, but he might want a different thing. And I don't know what that different thing, your purpose might be different. What you work for may be different because he called you to do a different thing.
Amen.
Right? However, the only way you're going to know that is communicating with him. The only way you're going to know that is paying attention to his words and what he's telling you to do. So now you got to come back and say, okay, what does this mean?
Right.
Oh, this is what you want me to do, God? Here go the kicker. Now you got to obey.
Right.
Now you have to realize that he said to do something, right? There's this big pause because, God said to his disciples that you have to count the cost. So if you want to follow me, you have to separate from your mother, your father, all these places, right? But he also said that when a man is building a tower, that before he does it, he has to count the cost. He has to consider how much it's going to take for him to build this tower. Well, if God is telling us this, have you ever understood that he considered the cost for you? That when he created us, he considered the cost of how he's going to create us, that we're not going to act right and he'll have to come down here to suffer, to die, to get on this cross, right? To be humiliated, to for someone to beat him, to slap him and say who this came from.
Right.
For his blood to actually drip on Calvary. He counted the cost. You were worth it. So when you think about all of those things and how he loved us,
Right.
and that we are worth it, what makes you think that the people you around are not worth it?
Wow.
God said that they are. And because he said that they are, then let's go back and treat them that way. And most of the time, your purpose is going to align with that. It's going to align with others.
Right.
We just got to move.
Man. Brother, I must say that if people could visually see what the Spirit has done, it's like you just been dropping diamonds all in here, dropping jewels, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't really got no more questions. Is there anything that you want to share, or something that's on your heart that you feel that somebody might need to hear, or that God has put on you right now? Is there anything you want to share?
Right now, it's just so funny because I get certain things to say at certain times and all those things. But right now was in me to say is that something that you want in your life. Mm-hmm. There's been something that you've been running away from for a mighty long time. You can still have it. You can still get it. You just got to make a choice to get up and go to work. That's it.
That's it. Hey, till next time, we love you. God does, and so do we. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Till next time, lights out. Chill.